I would certainly say it's like three key things have really helped me at this point that I didn't have when I started or didn't understand. I think the first was my prayer life. I really leaned into my spirituality to let that kind of guide me in my decisions and the work that I do here. I don't see influencer marketing or even the creators that we work with as just platforms. I think the other thing would be my process, which is me thinking about how things come to pass. I think we live in a digital age that moves so quickly. Everything feels so microwaved. It's right now, right now, right now. And what I've realized is that good things are built slowly and intentionally. So for me, everything is about the compound efforts that we do over time and those small wins every single day. Then I say the last thing is my people. And I'm really grateful to WIIM for this too, because Jessy, yes, girl. Because I feel like I've met so many incredible people. Just really thankful for the people that have been here to support and help me through this process.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the WIIM podcast. Women in Influencer Marketing is a first-of-its-kind exclusive networking group made up of inspirational women. This podcast is where we explore influencer marketing and get real about women in business. Find us wherever you download podcasts, and of course, you can always find us at iamwim.com. That's iamwim.com. Hello, guys. Welcome back to the WIIM podcast. I'm your host, Jessy Grossman, and I'm also the founder of the Women in Influencer Marketing community and membership. I am super grateful to have you guys here, and we have got a pretty exciting episode today. So I don't know where everybody's located. Some of you guys are in New York, some of you guys are in LA, Chicago, overseas, all over the country, everywhere. Some of you guys have been enjoying these events that we've been throwing. We have hosted this year in New York and LA a couple times each, and we are coming to Chicago as our last event this year on September 14th. Check out our website for tickets. But some of you guys don't have the ability to travel in or aren't located in those cities. And I know that you're feeling a little bit sad. So we spent a lot of money and hired a videographer for all of our most recent events. And we are bringing to you the panel discussions on this podcast. So you can only have a little bit of FOMO because, of course, there's so much more to our events than just the panel. But I do think these panel discussions are so fascinating, and I want to make sure you get to listen. You guys are the most loyal, awesome, freaking engaged, incredible people because you guys listen to this podcast week over week over week. And, I want to bring you good interviews. And sometimes they don't happen on this podcast. Sometimes they happen in person at these events. So we recorded the last one, which was in New York City, my hometown. And it was a good one. So you are going to hear from Ayomi and Christie and Taylar and myself about building in the creator economy. I will give you the slightest bit of preview to this conversation before we jump into it. I don't think there are enough women building in the creator economy. There are a lot of men doing it. And I'm like, where are the women? I've teased the idea of what if we, crowd fund our own, investment fund where we would support women who are building businesses in the creator economy. We just ran a poll asking that exact thing on our Instagram stories. And a lot of people DM'd me and they're like, wait, I would love to do that. Can we do that? Can we seriously do that? And I'm like, yes. And I'm so glad people are interested. I'm interested. I've been wanting to put my own money into companies, and I would love to be able to support women doing it. And I'm not really finding enough that are building. So this conversation is all about building in the creator economy, and you're going to be hopefully inspired by three women who have done it, are doing it, and they're doing a really incredible job. But they're also they're friends of mine, and I love what they're doing, but they do it with a lot of grace. So I want you to hear from them. I'm excited for you to get inspired. Check out our last event of the year, Chicago. You guys travel in. We actually had so many people travel in for our New York event. They traveled in for our LA event. So if you don't live there, it's okay. Use it as an excuse to take a trip up to the best city. It's the best time of year to come to Chicago, mid-September. The weather's going to be absolutely beautiful and our venue is gorgeous. So shout out to FCB Chicago for sponsoring our Chicago event, September 14th. So definitely come and say hi. It is the last one of the year. We will have virtual events. We have all sorts of other stuff going on, but it is the last in-person one, guys. And like, they're just better. They're just better. There's no way to sugarcoat that. They're way better than the virtual events because, like, I mean, there's just so much more that happens. The like magic is palpable. Check out our website, you guys. It's iamwim.com/events. That's iamwim.com/events. You're going to kick yourself if you haven't gone to an event of ours yet and you missed the last one. I'm telling you, and Chicago is going to be good. All right, you guys, I'm so excited for you to hear this panel. So enjoy.
So we are super, super grateful to have you here today. I'm going to stand up for the intro just because I know there's some people in the back. Thank you guys so much from seriously from the bottom of my heart for being here. We have grown WIIM since 2017 and honestly I get a little emotional sitting here and looking out at you guys, and I promised myself I would be really present today and just appreciate that you guys are here and support this movement of women supporting women. Ooh, that feels good. In the creator economy. I know it's hot today and I appreciate you guys coming out in a heat wave. So first and foremost, please give yourselves a round of applause for being here. You are in for such a treat today. First of all, this event could not be possible without our sponsors. So I need to give them a big shout out. First of all, people have been like, this space is beautiful. What is this? Our sponsor, Primary. This is their co-working office. So I personally had my office here for about 3 years, and I cannot speak more highly about them. We grew from a 2-person company to a 11-person company and did it all here within Primary. So they host events, but they're co-working space, way better than we work, promise. I am gonna throw shade. Their whole shtick is about wellness and work. Anyways, we'll talk a little bit more about them later, but did want to give them a big shout out. United Sodas for sponsoring the great drinks. And then we have some gift bag sponsors that at the end of the night do not leave without a gift bag, but we're not giving them out till 8:30 because you can't leave till then. So Equilibria, Lulu, Meinl, Alka-Seltzer, Marchand Eyewear, and Cricut, which we are going to be raffling off a couple of those items, a whole Cricut and all the accessories. Are there any DIYers in the house? Because Cricut is bomb, you guys. So we're going to be giving one of those away around 8:30, 8:45. So stick around. You have to be here to win. I don't mess around. You leave and I call your name, I go to the next person. I don't mess around with that. So you have to be here. And last but certainly not least, all the members of WIIM who are our super fans and who show up to events like this, to our virtual events, our mentorship, our Slack board. Our membership is amazing, and I just want to thank all of you guys who are members of the organization. Tonight is all about connection and just having a good time. So we have a super fun headshot booth, which some of you might have taken photos. It's to spruce up your LinkedIn. You can use it for whatever you want, but we could all use a beautiful new LinkedIn photo. I don't know about all of you guys, but a lot of us in this room are very used to promoting the brands that we work for or the influencers that we manage. And it's all about having them look beautiful in a photo. And I want you all to get a beautiful photo that you can use on your LinkedIn, your social. I want you guys to feel really great about yourselves. We have dinner, I'm sure a lot of you have enjoyed. It's going to be throughout the night too. So if you didn't get it yet, we're going to be serving throughout the night, drinks. And then of course, like I mentioned later, gift bags and a raffle. And so we are about to get started with the first part of the evening, which are our panelists. So I'm going to briefly introduce them, and then we're going to just jump right into it because I'm talking way too much. But we had Ayomi, I always try to mispronounce, Samaraweera, right?
You got it.
Yes. Okay. I'm the worst. Christie Childers. We also have Taylar, Barrington-Booker, and they are from Canopy, Best Day Ever, and agency Cliquish, respectively. So we are going to jump into that. The panel should last about 45 minutes or so, and then we're going to have a Q&A at the end. Oh, and this is all being recorded for the podcast. So if you scan that QR code over there, you can subscribe to the podcast. And then if you ask a question during Q&A, you can hear yourself on the podcast, which is kind of fun. So thank you all so much for coming, and let's get into it. So this is yours. All right. So question number 1. This is a very serious question. We're going to go down the line. Fuck, marry, kill. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Would you like to kick us off, Ayomi?
Firstly, I love this question.
Yes.
I'm obsessed. I worked at TikTok, so I'm going to have to say I would marry TikTok. And LinkedIn got me my last job, so I fucked with LinkedIn. So I guess to kill Instagram.
Kill Instagram. All right. What about you, Christy?
Okay, mine's gonna be like the exact opposite. So for personal use, I would say fuck Instagram for sure. Marry LinkedIn. You want to marry something dependable. You want to marry something that gives you safety. And then kill TikTok because I don't need another thing to scroll on. No offense.
She's going to kill TikTok. All right. Fuck, marry, kill. Taylar, what say you?
Okay, so I am not gonna say the F word because I'm just gonna pretend my mom is right here. So there's that. But I feel like I would absolutely marry LinkedIn. Like, I'm really into it. Maybe it's my own selfish ways. I consume Instagram and TikTok so much.
Sleep with?
I would sleep with. Yeah, Instagram. I feel like every 3 days I uninstall it. Like it's taking up too much productivity time for me. But I feel like I'm in a situationship with TikTok. Like we're trying to figure out what this is. So
I feel that really hard. I feel that very much so. I know you guys are thinking about your answers to this. Feel free to discuss later amongst yourselves. It's a fun one, right? So tonight we're going to be talking about building in the creator economy. That's what this whole topic is about. And first of all, I hope that tonight, by hearing from these 3 incredible women, that they inspire you to build in the creator economy. Because I'm going to get on my soapbox for 20 seconds, not even. I just don't think there's enough women specifically building in the creator economy. So I am very excited to have this conversation. So my first question, I always want to keep it real. And I'm going to ask anyone, I don't know, let's start with Christy. What's been your biggest hurdle as someone building in the creator economy?
Honestly, not going to be like probably the standard answer that you normally hear. I have not faced many hurdles in this economy. I feel like I kind of came into it at a really good time in like 2016 when things were really starting to ramp up, got in pretty quickly, early, adapted quickly, felt comfortable with software, felt comfortable with data and analytics quickly, made amazing connections quickly. And then I really just, I guess, not difficulty fostering them, but a lot of effort fostering those relationships for the past 6 or 7 years. So less of a hardship, less of a difficulty, but a lot of effort really goes into these types of careers. And if you can't put the effort in, it's not something that's going to be as easy for you.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's your honest answer. And Taylar, what about you?
So, funniest story, before I got into influencer marketing, I was in journalism. And any ex-journalism people in here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if anybody knows, but journalism never sleeps, right? Like it's 24/7, 365. My first year at work, I was like, wait, I don't get a Christmas break. And so I left journalism and went into marketing so that I could have work-life balance.
Love that.
That's the punchline. So I would definitely say like my biggest hurdle has been like work-life balance. And I think it's something that we talk about a lot, like within our team and our culture. Like I try to get my team, like make sure you're off at 6 or 7, like take a lunch break, like do not open emails on the weekend because it is relentless. And so that's my thoughts.
So raise your hand right now, guys, if you also struggle with work-life balance. Okay. Ayomi, what about you?
I would say for me, I honestly, always walking into male spaces has been really, really difficult. And honestly, it's not to say that most of the men I've worked with have been incredible. All my investors actually are all men. So it's not to say as if it's as if that's a bad thing. I just think I personally feel more comfortable in these spaces and it's so refreshing. And 70% of creators are female women. And it's really frustrating when you're working with people and there's not equal opportunities for everyone, whether it's on the founder space, the creator space, the marketing space. So
I think that's definitely a challenge that I'm trying to work through.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Christy, what are some things that you wish you knew when you started your business? Like going back to the beginning.
Let's see. When I started my current business, I wish someone did tell me this from day one, but I kind of put it off for like a year or so. Get an accountant. Just ASAP. Do not try to do your own taxes and your own expenses. It's ridiculous and insane. So get a good accountant. I would say definitely on the work-life balance note, when you come from an agency working 80, 90 hours a week and then you start a business and you think, oh, I'm going to be so much more balanced, like quite literally your business never sleeps, you never sleep, because the more hours in the day you work, the more money you make, and then you get really addicted to being awake and making money. So yeah, go to sleep, go to bed, I guess I would say.
I appreciate that. Like, be healthy, but that's real talk too. Like, I don't know, there's definitely such a thing as like high achieving women, like just high achieving people. And I think that you can fall into a lot of traps being in that. And like, if you're a workaholic, I feel a lot of us like take pride, wearing like a badge of honor. If we're workaholics, it's something to be proud of. And just because you can work, till 3 a.m. and you also see that money coming in because of it, it doesn't necessarily mean you should. So I really appreciate that. Taylar, what about you? What's been some things you wish that you knew when you started your business?
So I gave this a real good think, and I have been in business for 9 years, believe it or not. So honestly, I'm still alive, and that is the win. But what I will certainly say is like 3 key things have really like helped me at this point that I didn't have when I started or didn't understand. I think the first was my prayer life. I really leaned into my spirituality to let that kind of guide me in my decisions and the work that I do here. I don't see influencer marketing or even the creators that we work with as just platforms. I see them as people who have purpose, who have message, who are inspiring others. And so I really try to have a strong prayer life. I think the other thing would be my process, which is like me thinking about how things come to pass. I think we live in a digital age that moves so quickly. Everything feels so microwaved. Like it's right now. And what I realize is that good things are built slowly and intentionally. And I heard somebody use the analogy of like ants. And like if an ant looks at a grain of sand and says, well, this isn't a mound, I'm not going to lean into this. Instead of seeing it as what it could be, which is this large mound of sand, it wouldn't start, right? And so for me, everything is about the compound efforts that we do over time and like those small wins every single day. And then I say the last thing is like my people. And I'm really grateful to WIIM for this too, because Jessy, like, yes, girl. Because I feel like I've met so many incredible people. Like I see one of my girls in the back, Molly, Bray. Hey, Molly, that's my girl. And just really thankful for like the people that have been here to like support and help me through this process. So
Molly hearts you. And it sounds like it takes a village, and they don't even necessarily need to be like employees of your company. Like we had a whole slew of people who volunteered for this event tonight. This event would literally not be possible if not for like the 7 people who raised their hand and said, I support you. I want to be there for you. And you know what? I'll be there for them. And, you have a relationship with Molly, and I know that you guys will be there for each other. Like, it takes a village to have that support system. And like, the more that we can be there for each other, the stronger we'll all be. I just firmly, so deeply believe that. Ayomi, what are you looking to change or to solve in the creator economy with your business?
For me, it's transparency. And I don't know how everyone feels here. And again, I have a lot of love for TikTok, but ultimately the platforms look after the platforms, the brands look after the brands, and then the creators are just out here in the ether floating and trying to figure things out, trying to hustle, trying to make a living. So for me with Canopy, I'm trying to build this space where creators are helping creators. We're helping each other by sharing information, part spilling the tea, and actually just sharing things that you don't know what you don't know when you're a creator. Doesn't matter if you're just starting out as a creator or you have 1 million followers, you're still learning. There are platforms that are appearing, things are changing so quickly. And, some brands are great to work with. Some brands kind of suck. And, you know, you don't want to be giving away your usage rights in perpetuity. And there's a lot of like fine print in those contracts. And I think by creators helping creators, we can increase transparency. And then I think there's enough to go around for everyone to win. So for me, my biggest pain point right now is transparency and trying to increase transparency in the space.
And I think, like, I love that you guys also are about education, because what your company is doing is going to make everybody in this room's job easier. You are helping educate and like empower all of these creators so that once they are getting to the opportunity to work with the people in this room, they're that much more equipped to come to the table with even more. So there's just so much more that we can all do together. Taylar, what's been some of the best advice that you've been given that's helped you grow?
I feel like, oh my God, I guess I got to shout out. I feel like I'm being so serious and I'm so goofy. So like, just bear with me. But my entrepreneurship journey actually kicked off with my dad, who's an entrepreneur as well. And that was my homeboy. He passed away in 2014. It's okay, thank you. But I told him, I actually got a chance to tell him that I was moving into entrepreneurship before he passed away. And his one note to me was like, give it everything you've got. And I was like, when he said that to me, I was like, that is so superficial. Like, what do you mean? That's not real advice. Sure. But like, honestly, at this point, like, I feel like it's so profound, which is, you know, if you're going to like bet on yourself, like go all in. And so
100%. Because you know what? If you aren't willing to invest in yourself, who will? And once you do start to grow your business, you're going to get people who look to you to say, what percentage should I be putting into this? What passion should I be putting into this? And it's a lot of pressure as you start to grow and people start to look to you for inspiration, but like, that's the way to build a stellar team. That's a way to build a community, a tribe of people who believe in you, is when you push yourself and believe in yourself. No, you can be as sentimental as you want. Like, I'll eat it up all day. I'm good with it. Christie, when have you felt stuck in your business and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I would say, so I do a lot of things. I'm like one of those crazy people. So I own a Pilates. Yeah, I own a Pilates studio. So that's one element of my life, about building a brand, using influencers to do that. And then I own an influencer consulting business. So specifically on the influencer consulting business side, I would say when you go into business for yourself, no one really tells you that no matter what industry you're in, but specifically the creator industry, you're going to go through lulls during the year where it's really busy. All of a sudden you're making crazy money. You're killing it. Life is insane. And then you're going to go 2-3 months without a paycheck. So you're going to have zero money coming in. So I think like knowing how to get comfortable with allocating money spread over a period of 12 months, not letting the financial things trip you up, I would say is really hard. I definitely had trouble learning that in the beginning and would call my parents like sobbing regularly. And they'd be like, you're literally going to be fine. It's just money. You'll figure these things out. But yeah, you sometimes will go months without a paycheck when you're self-employed or when you're building a brand, when you're putting all your money, now Pilates side, into a brand. Like I have no liquid at this point. All my liquid is tied up in a business. So definitely getting comfortable with money and getting comfortable asking people around you about money. Stop gatekeeping money. It's so lame. Like, it is 2023. We are women. We need to be talking about how much money we make. We need to be talking about how much money we spend. And we need to be asking men how much money they're making as well. Saying, what are you making? What was your bonus? Tell me more about your bank account. You need to be asking these questions so that you can do the best for you as a woman.
So good, 100%. And, you know, share it with each other, because the more we have that transparency, the more we're going to be able to arm ourselves to know what to ask for, what to expect. Shameless plug, we have a salary reveal every single Tuesday on our Instagram and in our social, where people have anonymously submitted their entire comp package to us, and we share it on Instagram. So every single Tuesday, you can see not only what salary they're making, but what percentage of their insurance is covered. Do they get a mat leave? Like, really important stuff. So I appreciate that a lot. Taylar, what would you like to see change just broadly in our industry?
all right, so you guys think I've been on a soapbox before. No, seriously. So I didn't get to tell you all, but Agency Cliquish is an influencer management agency. We are exclusively dedicated to Black talent. So we only represent Black influencers across about a dozen verticals. So we've got beauty, we've got food, home, lifestyle, fashion, all the things. I started the company and it was born out of the Black Lives Matter movement and when George Floyd was murdered a few years back. And I was really excited to start the company because I was excited about the conversations that were happening. And I'm like, I want to be a part of that. What I will say is that since then, I've not seen those conversations stay as relevant, as current, as people following through and up on those things. And what I would like to see change is, I know it's sometimes difficult to see change from the top down, but all of us are in the weeds every day, making decisions every day. And I just want to empower you all, at least the people that can hear what I'm saying right now, and that Black creators are waiting to be seen and recognized, included. And as much as you can do that and prioritize them, they really appreciate it. But I would definitely like to see, more diversity in campaigns, more equity in these opportunities, and more inclusion, if you don't mind. So we went to Essence Festival last month. No, this month. Went to Essence Festival this month. It was really exciting. It was really exciting to see some of the mainstream brands there. L'Oreal was there. Revolve was there. We were there with Steve Madden. And it was really exciting activations that were happening as well. But I think inclusion is about figuring out how maybe your mainstream brands who have like Black markets or Black consumer bases can show up in our spaces instead of bringing us into spaces that don't quite look like us, right? I think it really is a way for brands to start being more inclusive. And, Essence Festival is our Coachella, So like, let's turn up.
Was it fun? Like, had you been years past?
I have. Actually, I interned for Essence in college. And so I went then and I was like, oh my God, look at all my aunties. Yeah. But this year it was like, oh my God, hey girl. Like it was more peers. It was a lot more peers there. And so what I will say is like the demographic of Essence Festival is getting younger and it's looking a little different. So like if you haven't looked into it or haven't heard of it, I'd highly suggest like looking into it. And if you're interested in activating, let me know.
All right, so I have to tell you guys a little bit about a company that I absolutely love. It's called Oversubscribe. So their co-founder, Peter, was actually recently on this podcast, so go check out that episode from June 20th. But basically, Oversubscribe is a place where fans can fund their favorite creators and earn back on that investment. So if you're a creator or their management, you should totally check them out. The million-dollar question these days is always around growth, how to grow, how to scale. And if you're a creator who wants to expand your business, but you simply don't have the capital to do it, let your fans fund it, the people who are already invested in you. Once the creator successfully grows their business from this investment and earns more based on that funding, the investor, the fans, earn from it too. There are lots of fans out there who would love to invest in their favorite creators, but they simply didn't know that they could. So subscribers now have a real stake in the success in a creator's business thanks to Oversubscribe. They can help them grow financially, which will then in turn make the content better, the quality of the content better, which will accelerate your growth as a creator just because you got some funding from the people who have already supported you for years. I think it's a really innovative idea. I love it. I want you guys to check out oversubscribe.co and just mention WIIM. That's oversubscribe.co and tell them Jessy from WIIM sent you. Hey, you. Thanks for listening to this episode. This show is sponsored by Women in Influencer Marketing, the best online community for the creator economy. You'll meet fellow influencer marketers, brands, and talent managers to talk shop, get hired, and even find a mentor. When you join, don't forget to check out all of our incredible resources. We also have dozens of masterclasses from the top voices at TikTok, YouTube, award-winning agencies, and women who are paving paving the way for us all. If you want a chance to network with a who's who in influencer marketing, just check out what it takes to join the membership collective. Visit iamwiim.com/join today. That's iamwiim.com/join. And I'll see you around the community.
Awesome. Ayomi, I think this is a question that I'm very excited to ask you. So you are, you're killing it on TikTok, and we talked recently about like you're doing stuff on LinkedIn, and I love and respect and also think it's imperative that if you're building the creator economy, you need to really think about your own personal brand. It kind of goes hand in hand. So how has personal branding impacted your business?
Honestly, at this point, when I am pre-product, pre-revenue, personal brand is my business. And if you looked me up 12 months ago, if you Googled me, not that I Googled myself, well, maybe I did, there would be nothing on me. It would be a private Instagram profile with about 300 of my family and friends with not really anything on there. And now I feel like I've really lent into personal brand because I knew I wanted to build a startup. And a startup in this space means you have to be a creator in every sense of the word. And I have different personalities with different platforms. Like the unhinged me is on TikTok. My highs and lows of being a founder on TikTok. The professional me on LinkedIn. Everything's going great in life. Professional success after success. And then Instagram is part business, part fun, part closed friends, when I'm feeling a little unhinged as well. But I think you really need to be out there and connect with your customer, connect with your investors, connect with your stakeholders, your peer groups, and your friends and family. And I think this goes back to what Taylar was saying around your people. I have found my people in so many ways. Jessy and I connected. I had been stalking Jessy on LinkedIn for such a long time, trying to find an intro that I happened to find through Kristen at VidCon. And I've made friends from LinkedIn, and I've made friends from internet friends who are real life friends. Julian's here, in fact, who we met through LinkedIn, I think. And I think it's so important, and so much opportunity is out there for you, but you have to put yourself out there, and you kind of have to be shameless. And I remember being really embarrassed this time last year, being like, this is so cringy. What are my friends at home going to think about me? This is so embarrassing. Like, I'm trying to be an influence, and I'm clearly not. And honestly, be shameless, be delusional, because what's the worst that could happen? It could actually just happen. And now I get to be up here on this panel, and I've been following Jessy's journey for such a long time. So it feels like a full circle moment, and it wouldn't have come about without building a personal brand.
And I don't know, I'll say that I relate to that so hard, because when I first started putting myself out there, I was so uncomfortable. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't still uncomfortable, but I see the value of it, and I just do it. And it's like a cheat to win is you find other people that are doing it too, and you cheer each other on, and you get out of your head. And you're like, whatever, she's just fucking awesome. So I'm just going to cheer her on, and yeah, I'll make a video in response to what she did. Whatever you have to do to trick yourself to get there, to put yourself out there. I see some people in the audience now that I know inspired me. Look at you, Lauren, back, who've inspired me and put themselves out there on social in really meaningful ways. And there's just a really interesting space of like a B2B influencer that's getting a little bit more traction these days and talking about. We're so used to this traditional influencer. I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for you. I'm not a fashionista. I'm not a beauty influencer. That is so far from what I naturally am. But I'll talk about business all day, every day, and I love it. And you can tell when I'm passionate about it because it's easy. It's easier to talk about. But anyways, I appreciate hearing your perspective because it's so important. And I really, truly hope that inspires a lot of you guys to just make that first post. It can be on Threads and just be text now, right? It doesn't have to be on a video, but work yourself up to that. Start a podcast, whatever it is, whatever medium you feel comfortable in. If you could just talk for hours, get a microphone. I will teach you how to upload your podcast. Christie's good at podcasts too. Yeah, I'll give her credit where credit is due. She's good at that. I've taken calls with her to learn. Christie, I'm gonna direct my next question to you. What white space do you think is primed in the creator economy that's basically primed for the taking?
So I would say sort of expanding upon what's already happening, but creators building their own brands. It's the most fun ever to watch a creator take an idea of, let's say, I want to make this skincare brand and then blow it up into something that's huge solely because they have an amazing following behind them and they have people who already love them so much and want to support them. And I think that specifically, I think that venture capital should really be looking at influencers to help them build brands. They should be putting their venture dollars into creators building their own brands, because off the back half, they're going to get this amazing brand already built with media behind it. They won't even have to worry that much about the media aspect. And then creators know what's in. They know what's hot. They know what people want. They can pull their audience in real time and get real-time data to create products that people will actually purchase, versus things going through R&D for 30 months in a row with all these people in the room who have no clue what they're talking about, truly. They do not know what type of skincare should be being created. They don't know what most people are looking for. And then, yeah, it's going through so much red tape that by the time it gets to the product floor, it kind of sucks. And all the good ingredients have been cut out and it's nothing anybody wants. So I think creator brands getting more money from VC to go behind those and moving quicker, building brands quicker. We got to stop being so slow.
And I'm going to give a shameless plug. He was here earlier and I think he left. But there is an incredible company. He double booked himself. It's okay. There is a company called Oversubscribe. I've talked about it before in our podcast and stuff, but that's literally what they do. But instead of being reliant upon like this VC, like amorphous sort of like, who is your investor, blah, blah, blah. It's actually getting investment dollars from your audience. Like a Kickstarter. Like a glorified Kickstarter, exactly. So anyways, it just came up and I happen to really think they're cool. I agree with you so wholeheartedly. Like the influencers just are so primed. 100% for a million different things. If you have an audience, they'll buy stuff from you. But you got to make the things for them to buy. And that's hard. You know, I don't want to like sugarcoat it. Like that's so easy to do. Like, yeah, just, sell your own product. Like, where do you start? What product do you sell? How do you make sure it's like a quality product? There's so many questions, but aligning yourself with the right people will absolutely get you there. Ayomi, I want to ask you the same question. Like, what white space do you see in the creator economy that you think is primed for the taking?
I think there's so much opportunity right now. One thing that stands out to me, and this is more like long tail, but would be around creator mental health and burnout. I think there's a massive gap in the space right now, and it's only going to get bigger and unfortunately probably only going to get worse because no one's figured this out. If someone can figure this out, how to support creators so that they can take vacation and their engagement doesn't drop and they can actually have benefits and healthcare and things like that, I think that would be a huge game changer. And I don't personally know anyone who's building something substantial in this space, but there are 200 million content creators globally right now. And as a solopreneur, as a freelancer, as a creator, you don't have the support that you naturally have as an employee of a corporate organization. So I think if someone can figure that out, I think that's $1 billion idea. I mean, maybe.
I was just that. I was like, that's kind of where I wanted to like throw this question out there. I'm like, have conversations, build with each other. Like that's literally what tonight is for. Start the conversation, man. Christie, I want to ask a follow-up question to you because I feel this really hard. I feel like a lot of us are very familiar with the big influencer campaigns that are for the Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 companies out there. And there are so many, way more smaller brands that are like, I see the value of influencer marketing, but I don't have $1 million budget. I don't have anything remotely close to that. So my question to you is, how can smaller brands have a place at the table with influencers?
For sure. I think, honestly, any brand can have a place at the table with influencers. That's definitely something that all brands should start to understand and accept, is that there's room. Even if your budget is small, you can still do good things with small budgets. So, for example, if someone's never worked with influencers before for their brand, just start small, and if it works, scale. So maybe reach out to a couple micro creators, nano creators, have them just make UGC content for you. A/B test that ad, against each other with multiple different options. And if that works for you, keep going with that. If you can show value to whoever's giving you money for your brand, whether it's investors, family, friends, yourself, whatever that is, just keep reports, like do your due diligence and show that it actually has a return. But I think that it doesn't need to be some huge activation to make it worth it to you. It could be as small as content, because a lot of founders, they don't want to get on their own brand pages and make content because they're scared or they have no clue what they're doing. So even if it is nano influencers making you cool content that you can repost on your social with your SMM or yourself, whatever, I think that that's beneficial. That's a great starting point.
Totally. So we're actually going to open it up to some Q&A. And like, I'm very cognizant that we've had questions sort of like all over the map, generally about building the creator economy, but like your questions can be related to any of the topics that we've spoken about or anything else that you just want to ask these really incredible, no joke women on the stage right now. So I'm going to grab one of these mics and I'm going to hand this to you because I would love to hand this over to someone to ask a question. So does anyone have any questions? They think, oh, you make my life so easy. Right in the front row. She's like, I do. I'm like, you're my favorite. What is your question?
My question is, how do you see the future of influencer marketing? How do you see it evolving over the next few years?
So yeah, the question is, how do you see influencer marketing evolving over the next few years?
I think all of us will have a good answer for this, so I'll pass it between. But like I said earlier, definitely influencers building their own brands. And in my opinion, which I'm very excited to see, probably starting to kill out some of the bigger heritage brands with the brands that they create, or potentially acquisitions to heritage brands, but hopefully like dogging heritage brands and saying ours are better than yours. No offense to anyone here who works at a heritage brand, a millie. But yeah, I'm excited to see creators really take over away from bigger brands that have like owned and sort of monopolized the space. I don't believe in monopolies, so I think that we should really start to, get rid of them.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier, which is all the strikes that are happening right now. Funny enough, when I was doing my forecast for the year, one of the things I thought about was, I think this is going to be the year that influencers move into entertainment. And I had no idea that this strike was coming. But I've just been seeing a lot of conversations about long form content, brands working with influencers to even do smaller like shows and like hosting sequences like that. So I'm really excited to see how that comes about and like what's next as far as influencers moving more into the entertainment space. But I agree with Christie. I'm excited to see how influencers continue to diversify themselves. I mean, there's a lot of conversations even happening across our roster about what can I do outside of paid partnerships? What are other things that can be done and other opportunities that are there for me? And so really excited to see like what bubbles up from there.
100%. Can I grab you to, okay. Who else has a question? All right, actually, I'm going to do this one first. I'll hand you the mic after. What is your question?
What advice would you have for somebody who has a business idea but doesn't know where to start?
Honestly, just get started. It's the hardest thing. And I think I was working on what is now Canopy for 8 months on the side of my corporate job when I was working at TikTok. And I was always said to myself, oh, it's not the right time. I don't have funding, or I don't have X, or I'm just not ready. And the reality is, well, you're never ready. It's never going to be the right time. There's always something going on. It took me getting laid off at the end of last year to go all in on that idea. And now the company Jelly's laid me off, and now my investors.
Yes.
And a real full circle moment. So I would just think simply just put pen to paper and start speaking to your customers. Start speaking to whoever A, are your customers, or B, people who are doing or kind of in the same space, like figure out what their journeys are. I remember when I first started, I reached out to people who are building similar things, or at least in the space. Do you have 15 minutes? I really appreciate your time. People are really generous with their time, like surprisingly so, which is just such an amazing thing. So I would say put yourself out there, just start doing. The hardest thing is to get started.
Yep. Agree. Fully agree with that. And then I would also say get comfortable with being really uncomfortable, because you're going to have to ask a lot of people for help. So if you have a lot of pride, just literally throw that in the trash, because you cannot be a business owner and an entrepreneur with too much pride. You need help from other people, whether that's money, whether that's advice, whether that's their time, whether that's helping, like them helping you get a loan. Nothing is more embarrassing than going to the bank and having the banker look at you and say, yeah, no, absolutely not. And you needing to find a cosigner for a loan, let me tell you. So I would say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And then, of course, just keep going. One foot in front of the other. Never backtrack. Just go, go, go.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo my dad, like, go all in. I really strongly believe, like, bet on yourself. I think one of the biggest things that was helpful for me is, like, I just got curious and I started asking questions. Like, I set up informationals with people who were already in the space. Like, can I have 15 minutes of your time? Honestly, people are taking me to lunch right now, like, to pick my brain, you know. I might need to make that a service. I can hear Jessy telling me, like,
You should.
charge people for this. But, I mean, people are really generous. Like, you'd be surprised how many people don't have the courage to reach out and ask. And so it's not as saturated as you think, you know. Like, go for it. Send that LinkedIn message, send the DM, and, like, see what comes of it.
Yeah, slide through the DMs, always.
100%.
Slide.
Any other questions?
Ayomi, is that your name? So I think this one's for you just because I know you're working on something really cool with creators. So working for an agency, I work with a ton of brands. And right now, the biggest topic and conversation I'm hearing from brands is performance influencer as a performance channel. My point of view is that I don't know if the creator economy has matured enough to where they all fully understand the impact of driving ROI for brands. Is that something that you're working on with creators, is educating them on the importance of ROI and driving sales? And do you think that the influencer space can get to a fully performance-driven channel?
That's a great question. Very much a hot topic. And yes is the answer in terms of creator education. I think, honestly, the industry is so nascent. And also, creators are popping up everywhere, right? You can have one video on TikTok and suddenly you wake up and you have 50,000 followers. And suddenly brands are reaching out to you and they're offering you money and whatever else. And I think the creator mindset needs to shift. I think a lot of creators, especially up-and-coming creators, see it as like quick money.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the side of my job. I can make a couple of grand a month. Like, that's great. But they're not thinking about it as a career, as a business. And they're just doing these one-off partnerships. And I'm like, guys, this is not the way to build a career. You need to build a relationship with that brand and start small, grow, and show them the ROI and, like, understand what it means to actually have performance engagement. And how do you story tell that product for your audience rather than say yes for everything. Actually, something I say to creators is sometimes you need to say no to brands if you do not align with your audience and also your values, but especially your audience, because your audience is going to pull you out.
Yeah.
If it's like off brand for you, it doesn't feel authentic, and it's not going to work. It's going to tank. The video will not perform, and the brand will not work with you again. You don't get a second chance with brands. So I guess my answer is I think the industry is super nascent. I think up-and-coming creators, especially on the short-form video side, are nowhere near their optimal. And I think it's going to take some time to get there through creator education.
I think the people in the back are getting a little rowdy. So we're going to have time for one last question. Lauren in the back.
My question, so I'm an agency founder. I own a consultancy called Ludlow Social, helping brands and agencies run their campaigns. Past 2 years have been incredible, but also a challenge of work-life balance, like I think one of you said. I'm curious, what percentage of your day do you spend business development versus execution? Like, how do you structure your day? How are you being fulfilled in a way that's not just like a grind on your computer all day?
Oh my God, that's so funny. Wow, because I feel like I'm doing, I feel like sometimes I'm doing CEO stuff, is what I call it, like CEO duties, like at 7 p.m. And here I am telling my team, hey Jay's back there on the team, telling my team to like log off at 6 o'clock and have a weekend. Meanwhile, that's when I'm working on CEO stuff. One of the things that I implemented recently that I think is starting to work is that I've time blocked my calendar. So I'm getting really specific here, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays from like 12 until the end of the day, like they know like I'm lights out. Like this is where I'm spending time. And so I have found that the only way I can control my time is if I put boundaries around it. And that's what's worked for me right now. But, it's a balance. We do the best we can. And no day is going to be perfect. No week is going to be perfect. But, that's what I do.
I love time matching so much. I have a digital calendar. A lot of people use Calendly. I use TidyCal because it's cheaper and does the same fucking thing. So I will be very specific about how many phone calls I take a week, per day, how many video calls I take per week, per day, and that's different. That drains me more. I will, how many podcasts I record a week because I do podcasts. Like how many in-person meetings, because we're all meeting people in person again, and be very, totally comfortable saying, let's meet in 3 weeks from now. And 3 weeks from now is perfect because right now I'm in this mode. You don't need to explain yourself, but in my mind, I justify it as no, this week I need to be in money-making mode and I just need to work on my bottom line this week. And I am ADHD to the max, diagnosed at 35 years old. I'm older than that now, so this was a year ago. I struggle with I feel like a pinball half the time because if I said yes to what everybody came to me with, I wouldn't be productive. So I think that A, be okay with saying no. He had to use the bathroom, I don't know. A, be okay with saying no. B, be intentional about what this week is for you and be protective of that time. And also, real talk, these things are gonna shift and evolve. And if 1 week you're this is my money-making week and some other incredible opportunity comes up, write it down so that it happens eventually, but you might need to shift this week because something else just came up. So you gotta be flexible too, which is a non-circular answer that I'm giving you, but I hope that helps a little bit. But we can certainly talk about that later. And I know a lot of people in the audience will also probably be going through the same thing and have a lot to say about that. So I am going to first thank our panelists. Please give them a round of applause. I was very particular about having these 3 people here because I wanted you guys to hear from them. So please meet and mingle with them later tonight. What we are going to be doing for the next 15, 20 minutes or so is enjoying dinner, enjoying drinks, getting your headshot done at the headshot booth. And then in about 20, 30 minutes, we're going to be breaking off into small group sessions in the room next door that we're going to be making our way into next. So I will be loud on the mic and get your attention when that happens. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight and have a really wonderful rest of your night.
If you enjoyed this episode, we gotta have you back. Check out our website for more ways to get involved, including all the information you need about joining our collective. You can check out all the information at IamWIIM.com. Leave us a review, a rating, but the most important thing that we can ask you to do is to share this podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week.